Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, from 10th canto, 10th chapter, Deliverance of Yamarajuna trees, text 17. Let's see. Daridrasya eva yujante sadhavaha samadarshinaha sadbhihi kshinoti tam darsham tataha arat vishuddhyati daridrasyaiva yujante sadhava samadarshinaha sadbhih kshinoti tam tarsham tata arat vishuddhyati daridrasyaiva yujante sadhava samadarshinaha sadbhih kshinoti tam tarsham tata arat vishuddhyati daridrasyaiva yujante sadhava samadarshinaha sadbhih kshinoti tam tarsham tata arat vishuddhyati. Ladies? Daridrasya, of a person who is poverty stricken. Eva, indeed, yujante, may easily associate. Sadhavaha, saintly persons. Samadarshinaha, although sadhus are equal to everyone, to the poor and the rich. The poor man can take advantage of their association. Sadbhi, by the association of such saintly persons. Kshinoti, reduces. Tam, the original cause of material suffering. Tarasham, the desire for material enjoyment. Tataha, thereafter. Arat, very soon. Vishuddhyati, his material contamination is cleansed off. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Saintly persons may freely associate with those who are poverty-stricken, but not with those who are rich. A poverty-stricken man, by association with saintly persons, very soon becomes uninterested in material desires, and the dirty things within the core of his heart are cleansed away. Purport. It is said, Mahat Vichalanam Nrinam Grihinam Dina Chetasam. That's from 10th canto of Bhagavatam, 8th chapter, 4th verse. The only business of a saintly person or sannyasi, a person in the renounced order, is to preach Krishna consciousness. Sadhus, saintly persons, want to preach to both the poor and the rich, but the poor take more advantage of the sadhus' preaching than the rich do. A poor man receives sadhus very quickly, offers them obeisances, and tries to take advantage of their presence, whereas a rich man keeps a big greyhound dog at his door so that no one can enter his house. He posts a sign saying, "Beware of a dog," and avoids the association of saintly persons, whereas a poor man keeps his door open for them and thus benefits by their association more than a rich man does. Because Narada Muni in his previous life was the poverty-stricken son of maidservant, he got the association of saintly persons and later became the exalted Narada Muni. This was his actual experience. Therefore, he is now comparing the position of a poor man with that of a rich man. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana kata tajjoshanad ashvapavargavartmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishate. If one gets the advantage of association with saintly persons by their instructions, one becomes more and more purified of material desires. Krishna bahirmukha hoy bhogavanchakar nikatastha mayatare japat yadhare. Material life means that one forgets Krishna and that one increases in one's desires for sense gratification. But if one receives the advantage of instructions from saintly persons and forgets the importance of material desires, one is automatically purified. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. Unless the core of a materialistic person's heart is purified, he cannot get rid of the pangs of bhava mahadavagni, the blazing fire of material existence. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prishta Bhutala Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Daridrasyaiva yujante sadhava samadarshinaha sadbhikshrinoti tam tarsham tata arad vishuddhyate. Saintly persons may freely associate with those who are poverty-stricken, but not with those who are rich. A poverty-stricken man, by association with saintly persons, very soon becomes uninterested in material desires, and the dirty things within the core of his heart are cleansed away. So this is continuation of Narada Muni's talk before actually cursing these two brothers, the sons of Kuvera. He explained, he's explaining actually his reasoning behind the curse. And curse of Mahabhagavata, or such a exalted devotee as Narada Muni, is not really curse, it's a blessing. Now these two boys, they were standing naked in the front of Narada Muni, just completely bewildered, drunken, intoxicated, and falsely proud of their wealth. They thought that, who cares, this and that, whoever may come, even if God himself would come in the front of them, they would behave in the same way, because they were intoxicated. So now Narada Muni is preparing them. Actually, it's hard to imagine that they came to their senses immediately, or they realized what they have done and what will just happen to them. But the point is that Narada's curse was that they would remain conscious in the bodies of trees. Well, that's suffering, because when when Jiva gets the body of tree, his consciousness also becomes dull and low, and he doesn't actually realize this in position he's just just by force going through this samsara. But they will suffer a lot in that poverty-stricken condition. Therefore, it's a very, very, very grave, because of grave offense. It's a very heavy curse. And just there is a Jewish proverb that it's a curse. May you have everything and lose it. Because unless you have something and lose it, you cannot really understand what you had. And that's like a real suffering, I mean, like, somebody may tell you, like, he may curse you, like, may you lose everything. But if you don't have anything, then if you are poverty stricken, then that doesn't apply to you, But then somebody who becomes crorepati, or like we can see, there's so many people especially in this modern economy, with all this, especially now online business going on, and then selling the goods and buying the properties. Everything goes online actually, and then there is that the famous place in New York that was that called where they stock exchange that. Wall Street, yes, Wall Street. Okay, so you see, I even forget it because I'm not into it. Wall Street, yes, where people buy stock and sell stocks, and like there was an example of a man. Well, that's the real story. A man he was a businessman and millionaire, which is not actually much now. Even in this Forbes list of the rich people, there are no millionaires. There are only billionaires nowadays, since money is losing value. So, but there was some guy who was a millionaire at that time. That happened some, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. I read about it. And there was some financial, crisis, some balloon, as usually happens, like every few years, everything goes up and then it crashes, market crashed. And he had some, he had a lot of that imaginary wealth, the stocks, properties everywhere, this and that. And then you could, you have this on stock exchange, you have your own screen and then you see your graph and you see your wealth. So what happened, when this crisis just started, and this was a short crisis, so this is what it usually goes, like it's slowly climbing up and then suddenly, boom, it crashes. Suddenly means, like in the course of few days. So like he was, like eating, literally eating his fingers, his fingernails. And, he was pale and he was sitting in the front of the screen like this. And, he was just looking how his, this graph, how he's going down, his wealth, I don't know, I forgot. He had like, 50 million and then, next day 20 million. And then, his properties were, that was the worth of his property. And then, 1 million. And then he was like, and then, it was going down. And then he opened the window and jumped, down through the window. It's a sad story, but this is what happened. So this is something people cannot withstand it. You have everything, you have millions, you can afford everything. Like you have your pride goes to the sky, and then suddenly you fell down. Just like everybody is after that. And I remember reading some biography of Beatles, and I believe Paul McCartney or somebody of Beatles said, that we were so excited, we are climbing on the top, we'll be on the summit then. And then when they reached the summit, means the top of the pops, they were the most famous rock band. If you like in all other languages except English, this rocking sounds so. When I translate in my language or your, I don't see many native English speakers except few devotees here, but in my language, it's so stupid. Rock and roll means like rocking, climbing, and then rolling. But that that phrase rock and roll, that became like all young people, they want to become rock and roll stars, like stars in rocking and rolling, it's so ridiculous actually. So when they came on the top, he said, we were imagining how it would be, when we reach the top. And then when they really, in so many ways they reached the top. They were so rich. The girls were screaming. Like every young man wants that girls scream after him. And they could afford anything. They were buying properties here and there. And when they came on the top, he said, then I saw the abyss. I saw, from other side, there was nothing. There was just, the other side was just abyss, just empty voidness. There was nothing. There was nothing else. So it was illusion. But as we read here in Bhagavatam, in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada explains, Bhagavatam, actually Narada Muni himself, he says that the riches, that's the most like tantalizing, the bewildering, the riches, when you have everything, like, therefore they say that, how you say, when somebody, if you want to know someone's nature, just give him to rule, means give him some higher position or something. And there's another contemporary also saying that if you want to know someone's nature, give him a driving wheel, give him to drive. You will know his nature. But, everybody wants to rule and everybody wants to have riches, everybody wants to control. This is the position of Ishvara, Ishvara Bhav. Actually, Ishvara Bhav can also be cultivated, can be used in Krishna consciousness. Because some people have it more than others, but this Ishvara Bhav is there. I want to be Ishavasya Midam Sarvam principle. I want to be, everything what is, you are all my paraphernalia. You're all meant for my enjoyment. You're all meant to please my senses. This is what Jiva thinks, Jiva thinks. And then, and of course, riches, when you have so much money, and that's amazing actually, what some people can afford, we cannot even dream of it, we cannot even imagine, Just imagine having your own airplane, and you don't have to go to the, whenever you want to go, wherever you want to go, you don't have to, go on internet buying tickets, or you don't have to, stand in the queue in the train station buying a, ticket. You just go and, that would be great, huh? What do you think? Who wants to have his own airplane? We will get it, you will get it. If you go to the spiritual world, you will have your own airplanes, that everybody is using airplanes there. Hamsa Vimanas. So, or Pushpa Vimanas. So, and then when you lose it, that's really it's a heavy, heavy, heavy tragedy. There is a similar saying that be careful what you wish, but you can get it. You may get it, That's also the same. It's a similar context. Or there is a curse also that may you get whatever you desire as soon as you want it. That's a blessing and a curse. And just imagine if you would have this faculty to fulfill, if you would have this possibility to fulfill all your desires immediately. Sometimes we are in a bad mood and we think, oh, I'm so stupid, let me, I wish I am dead. And suddenly, yes, you are dead. You are dead. So, it's better like this, no? It's better, we cannot fulfill our desires. May Krishna works on it. So, and Srila Prabhupada says here, now we are speaking about the poverty-stricken, because this is what actually Narada, this was the strategy which Narada wants to use to reform these two guys, these two bewildered demigods. I'll make them poverty-stricken, because that's the, 180 degrees opposite of being the, having all. Poverty-stricken means that nobody cares for you. There is a one rude, should I say it? I'll say. In our country there is one rude saying that the poverty-stricken person is excrement's brother. Excrement means stool. Stool's brother. Which is, it's a rude, but it's actually, that's the situation. Nobody cares for you when you are saintly, when you are poverty-stricken. You are just, frowned upon, you are looked down upon, you are kicked away, just like, imagine these beggars. When you go to some holy place, you can see beggars. Still, you can see. You go Govardhan, and especially in time of festivals, so many beggars, so many, hundreds and thousands of beggars sitting there, and just nobody cares for them. Just, people give them some paisa or some rupee. That's all. Nobody cares for them. They cannot afford to, sit in the train and travel or airplane, or they always have to think, what I will eat and this and that. So this is what, this was the strategy Narada used for the, he wanted these two boys to understand what it means, to be poverty-stricken. Now, in this, here he explains, but that's a definitely, very bad fate, and it's a heavy karma to be poor and poverty-stricken. But what is the advantage of it? That one can freely associate with the sadhus, because sadhus roam around, sadhus go door to door. Just like Prabhupada is explaining how the rich man keeps the sign, beware of dog. So now everybody who was doing or does book distribution knows this, especially in the West. This especially applies to West. And we are from such a country where people keep dogs in their yards, and we had so much of experience of that. It's really like, it's not even dogs. It's all these surveillance cameras and the heavy fencing, and actually it's really difficult to enter the house. And then once you enter, and there are some tricks like you can use, you can press this parlophone, and you can tell that that you are delivering something, or there's different ways devotees are using to enter. But once you enter, then you have to be careful. And very often we used to we carry umbrellas, not these small folding umbrellas, but the big umbrellas, and the more umbrella the better, because even when there is no rain, it's nice weather, but it's good to have umbrella, and especially with that stick, in the front, with the, how you say, the spear in the front, on the top. Then dogs are thinking twice. Or you have to have huge shoes. There was one devotee who used to live here. He was one of the founding fathers of the ISKCON Salem, Tirtha Sevana Prabhu. Once we went to book distribution together in the West, and he has a really huge foot, like 47. I don't know how much is that in English. That's like 12 or something. Yeah, so like huge foot like this, huge feet. So he had some sneakers, some sport shoes for somebody gave him, for basketball, and they're usually like heavy like this. So we were just we were entering, one property, and there was nobody. Their house was a little in the back, So we opened the gate, and he was in the front of me, and we were doing like crisscross, and how to say, he would do one house, then I would do another house, and like this we would cover the street. So he's entering, and he just entered maybe like 10-15 meters inside, and suddenly some huge dog start running, just at him, huge dog like this, whoa, 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 whoa. And then it was like he didn't have time to move back and close the gate, so he's just waited there. The dog came, and he just kicked him, with his foot, 47 shoes, and the dog just jumped like this in the air, rolled in the air, and the same speed went hide somewhere, hide somewhere. And sometimes, and then, we had experiences. We were bitten by dogs, Once we were, and then we asked the owner, to, it was nothing serious, but just scratches, So we asked, now you have to take books, otherwise, I'll file complaint, to police. Like, different ways. But this is, it's difficult to enter. But these were some middle class of people. But then when you want to meet some rich people, that would be like really, really difficult, very, very difficult, And then ordinary people, you may, meet them everywhere. You just ring the bell, you come to them, you give them book, they read the book, they become devotees. And especially when we were collecting, for different projects or for temple here, it's very difficult to meet this like high profile, rich people. Extremely difficult. You have to make so many appointments. You have to have very good connections, isn't it? It's so difficult. It's so difficult to get them, But ordinary people, they can come and then, they take advantage of sadhus association, and they very easily they can become. This is what Srila Prabhupada says. Very easily they can become, through association. They can become uninterested in material desires. Narada Muni says, and then these dirty things come out from their heart. Why? Because they met sadhu. What means sadhu? Sadhu means highly advanced devotee who has no other interest actually in life. And then another from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.10.17, another definition of sadhu is somebody whose aim in life, sadhava, is Krishna. It's only Krishna. And who is sadhana also. These are all connected words. Sadhana. Who is engaging in sadhana. What means? Sadhana means devotional service. Sadhana means devotional practice. And who is engaging others. Who is able or capable to engage others in sadhana. So this is sadhu. It's highly realized soul whose only business is to spread Krishna consciousness. I mean, when you read this purport, you obviously, Srila Prabhupada speaks about Krishna consciousness, about devotees, preachers, going around and preaching and spreading this Krishna consciousness all around the world. Now this, also Daridra, this is also very, and something which, when I read this purport, this shloka and this purport, this Daridrasya Yujyante, person who is poverty stricken. This immediately comes to our mind, this particular person who is somewhat famous in India, but completely anonymous. Actually, nobody knows who is he in the West. Never heard. Whose name, Big Brother is watching us, so we better be careful what we speak. But whose name begins with a letter which comes after the letter U in the English alphabet. So that particular person coined this this phrase, Daridra Narayan. The idea, actually Daridra Narayan Seva. All impersonalists use this as an excuse because how impersonalists, when they meet each other, Mayavadis, how they address each other, Narayana, Narayana. So that's, it's very nice. But actually they think, you are Narayana, oh, Narayana, Narayana. They think everything is Narayana, everybody is Narayana. So these poverty-stricken people, especially they are Narayana, They are not different from Narayana. Why? Because they are poverty-stricken, because they are Daridra, they are poverty-stricken, they are Narayana. No, it doesn't mean if you are poor that immediately you become Narayana or you become spiritually advanced. But he used this as it was a political thing, as usually these demons, rascals do They are misusing everything for their own means. So to be poverty-stricken in itself, it's not a qualification. It's not if you are poor that immediately you will become. But if you meet devotee, if you take his association, and then taking association means hearing, serving. Why? Because he's, and then another word, sadhu and pandit, pandita samadarshina, vidya vina sampane, brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shvapakecha, pandita samadarshina. Because this sadhu, he sees, he sees actually Krishna everywhere. Not like this these politicians and these rascals who propagate these misconceptions of Daridra Narayana. He actually sees Krishna present everywhere, and he is the real benefactor of others, because he is Samadarshina. So sadhus or pandits, sadhus are the real benefactors. Here is also sadhava samadarshina. The same word is used here. He is, although sadhus are equal to everyone, to the poor and the rich, the poor man can take advantage of their association. This is what Srila Prabhupada translates here in the word to word. And then Mahad Vichalanam Nrinam Grihinam Dina Chetasam. This is Srila Prabhupada starts his purport with this particular shloka, Grihinam Dina Chetasam, which means that person, the great devotee, they move from the place to place on their own interest, for the sake of poor-hearted grihastas, householders. Otherwise, they have no interest in going from one place to another. Now this is Dina Chetasa. Dina Chetasa means simple-minded, being engaged in family maintenance and nothing more. This is simple-minded, not in the sense like devotees are also also simple-minded, not in that sense, but simple-minded. They their minds are filled with so many, less important things, or there are so many duties householders, grihastas have to do in life, which makes actually situation very difficult. Very difficult to concentrate actually on the main goal of life. Very difficult to concentrate on sadhana and sadha. Sadhya. It's difficult to concentrate on the aim, the goal of life. And material energy is like that. It has these two, Maya has these two, so many times we hear about these two functions, avaranatmika and prakshapat. The Maya covers, that pulls down and covers living entity. And then living entity forgets the meaning of life, the real mission of life. And he goes astray. And especially that, therefore Srila Prabhupada says here, Dina Chetasam, Grihinam, Dina Chetasam in a household life, it's like that. It's just, like Srila Prabhupada said, 50% chance for Grihastas. Those who are householder, family people. Very difficult, very difficult. No? We all have householders. We all have this experience. You have to make money. Therefore, you have to associate with the, you are in the, how to say, less auspicious circumstances. You have to associate with the material energy, with people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, with money, and just to get that money, you know. And then once you get it, then you finish like these two brothers, Nalakora and Manigiri. But just to get the money, it's not easy. You have to go out, and therefore it's very difficult. And then, you know, the jiva slowly, and we have seen this so many times, how devotees, and especially in the West, again, since those of us who have this experience, you know, like in the beginning of Hare Krishna movement, Hare Krishna explosion in the West, there's so many people actually. Most of the devotees were living in the people who joined, and devotees who came to Krishna consciousness, people who became devotees in Krishna consciousness movement, they were living in the temples, in very protected atmosphere, where you had a strong sadhana and association of devotees. And then, because just it's a natural, and so many people just, you know, can't live all their lives as sadhus or mendicants or missionaries. They had to go out, you know, devotees have to go out, and then they have to, again, deal with the material energy. And we see so many people just going astray, going away from Krishna consciousness, because this avaranatmika and prakshapatmika, Maya's role. Maya is pushing, Maya is not sleeping, Maya is never on leave, Maya is doing her service perfectly. Therefore, one should never forget. I mean, this is it's a so nice verse and so important words. How, and these are the statements actually just which are actually inspiring and giving us hope. But we have to take association of devotees. We have to take association of sadhus. And even we are discussing this series of these shlokas. Prabhupada was mentioning this lava matra, 1/11th part of the second of associating with a sadhu, saves you from the pangs of material nature. It liberates you. Just that such a small amount of time, that little track, you know, if we associate with even that much association of devotees can save us. It doesn't mean that we have to associate only this lava matra, but taking association of sadhus, serving them, it's the only means actually of success. And this is sadhus. They go around. They don't care. They go to poor and rich. But as this is the point of this particular shloka, it's very difficult to go to the rich man. The poor have this, and It's not that we are poverty-stricken here, but we are not rich men. I don't know. Maybe some of you are. We are not billionaires, and you know what it means when you, like, so many people dream about getting, the jackpot on the lottery and having, becoming billionaires. But if you just analyze a little bit this this unlikely possibility, I mean, just imagine your life would change so much. You wouldn't be the same person. You would, you will lose so many of the advantages of being just ordinary person. Then you would have to hide the money, and because there will be so many thieves who would try to take it away from you. You would be surrounded by false friends. And this is what these rich people, they don't have real friends. That's amazing, because the people who surround them, they're just highly motivated people who just want to get a part of it. Therefore, this rich people, now it came to my mind that what was his name? Somewhere around mid of or first half of 20th century, he was the richest person in the world, and then that one who was trying to hide himself and sealed his room so that he doesn't get what was his name? Huh? Howard Hughes. Yes. Howard Hughes. Yes. That guy was he was so schizophrenic, actually. He was so crazy from that. He wanted to save his life, so he sealed his living quarters, so that the viruses and bacteria don't enter, so he may live forever or stay alive as long as possible. Then finally he went so crazy that he just abandoned everything. He took the garb of a beggar. He went out and he was stopping cars, on the road. And the story goes like, I don't know if that's true. I heard that then he gave all his riches, to the person who stopped, who took him away in the car, like that. He became completely mad, completely. But in the beginning, he was before he was like completely out of his mind. He was trying to protect, building the tower of Babylon. Same like Kamsa, Kamsa. I was so afraid that Krishna will come and kill him, so afraid. So very difficult for the rich man, and then Prabhupada, and that's another also something we have to mention. Prabhupada mentions this story of Narada Muni, his case. He was in similar situation. He was poverty-stricken because he was the son of the maidservant, and then somebody who, in the West, and when you read this in the West, it doesn't mean anything to you, and it's like there are no maidservants. But here in India, still we can see poor people go around in the houses of rich people, and then they do menial service. In my country, that's forbidden. That's outlaw. You cannot have a servant in the servant means then you have to employ him. He has to have minimum wage like this, and then he becomes employee, not that he's your servant. So he was a son of a maidservant, and in Shastra it's not even mentioned who was his father. So you know what that means. That's like really not such a high birth, very unfortunate situation. His mother was single mother, He was like in the West now. That's very common, but it's a different way. But yeah, I mean, actually, it's a very similar thing. Yeah, it's, they don't know the woman of low character. They associate with so many men, and they don't know whose son. They get a child, and they don't know whose son he is. It's like so. He happened to appear in such a family, in such a circumstances, but he was poverty stricken, but he had this fortune that in the time of Chaturmasya, this still going on in India, Madhva sannyasis especially, they still go for Chaturmasya. They would go somewhere, and they would stay with some grihastas, and for 4 months they will give association, and then there will be satsangs, and different families will come there. And like this, they will give association and these families will, and they're like every year, every Chaturmasya, they will visit different families like that. And then, these grihastas have opportunity to serve them. So Narada Muni had this opportunity because some sadhus were coming, and then his mother was very pious, although, misfortunate. And he helped her. And he got prasadam, he got mahaprasadam from these sadhus. And, it's amazing, actually. Prabhupada mentions this example so many times in his writings. This was actually his great fortune, and therefore he was qualified to become Narada Muni. It's so powerful, this service to the sadhus and taking the remnants, of their, taking their prasadam. It's so purifying, and it's so elevating. It promoted him to the position of a Devarishi. And so Narada Muni is not an ordinary devotee. He's a transcendental astronaut. He's like he's the best among sannyasis. He's Yatiraj. He goes everywhere and preaches. He's the topmost authority in devotional service. No, just through the association with the sadhus, with the Vaishnavas, not ordinary sadhus. Because if you see the sadhu among common people, if you ask sadhus, people have different concept about sadhus. And as Maharaj was mentioning this, when you fill up the form, then they ask your occupation, then they have the one option is offered sadhus and beggars. So this is not that type of sadhu, not that type of, or when Srila Prabhupada described his childhood, he was mentioning how so many sadhus would come to his Gaur Mohande's house, to his father's home, and Gaur Mohande would serve them, give them prasadam, give them some dakshina. But Srila Prabhupada didn't have great opinion about them. They were sadhus, they were coming there, and his father was very nicely serving them, but they were not all of them, at least, were of the these sadhus, Vaishnava sadhus of that caliber, which actually are described here. These are the real sadhus. So that sadhu means highly advanced devotee. That's the real sadhu. Highly advanced devotee. Not everybody. And then when somebody gives a nice class, and everybody's inspired, and everybody's thrilled, and after finishing class, you just want to go and immediately serve and remember Krishna, that rest of the day, when we don't clap usually this is our Vedic culture, our tradition. We don't clap because clapping, that's for the, how to say, removing the spirits and and crows. Also, you do this when you want to chase away the crows. But you say sadhu, when somebody gives, like Maharaj gives a nice class, we don't have to clap. We can just shout sadhu, sadhu. That's Vedic culture. That's nice to see. That sadhu means, that's the sadhu means somebody who is highly advanced and who is inspiring others in their sadhana. That's in this context, that's the definition, actually, the real definition of sadhu. In association of such devotees, the pastimes and activities of the Krishna are very pleasing, and Srila Prabhupada mentions here, Hrit Rasana Kata. Rasana? Now, there are so many people interested in Ayurveda. You know what means Rasana? Tonic. Rasana. Something which gives us life, or enlivens us, or just like that Dorian Gray, if you heard about that story of Dorian Gray, and who wanted to become young again. So if you drink that, you become young again. Means it's how you say, magic elixir. Yes, it's enlivening you. So Hrit Karna means it's enlivening for heart and for ears. Rasana, enlivening for heart and for ears. Kata, Krishna Kata. And by cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced. By hearing from sadhus and hearing about, from sadhus, we don't hear, or we don't want to hear about politics and the sports and some worldly matters. We want to hear about Krishna. This is what sadhu is meant for. Sadhu is another meaning of sadhu is that he is cutting. Also, he is cutting. So he's cutting and he's giving you rasana. He's giving you tonic, this elixir, and you can become again enlivened in devotional service. And in such a way, one becomes liberated, one becomes freed from the attraction, for material attraction for the material nature or material consciousness. He becomes fixed. And Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. Then his real devotion and devotional service begins. So this is the duty of sadhu. Bhavanti Hrit Karna Rasana Kata. Tajjoshana Dashva Pavarga Vartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. So if one gets advantage of the association with saintly person, their instructions become more and more purified. By their instructions, one becomes more and more purified of material desires. And then Bhava Maha Davagni, the blazing fire of material existence, is extinguished. Davagni, Mahadavagni. It doesn't mean just a small fire, burning your finger. It means when you, just like a few years ago in our country, there was a there was a heavy. There are very often forest fires going on, like every summer season. So many forest fires. And there was on one island. There was a forest, and there was some heavy fire blazing, burning all the trees. And then these firemen had to go there and extinguish the fire. And they were helped by these Canadair airplanes, if you have seen that. These are airplanes which are taking water and then, throwing on the fire. So what happened? They came from one side of the island, and they were, also trying to, whatever they do, they dig the channels, they cut the trees, just to stop the spreading of fire. So what happened? The direction of the wind changed, and fire went on them directly. There were some, I forgot how many, 7, 8, or 10 firemen or something, one group of firemen, and they all burned to death except one guy. Only one survived with a heavy burns. Something you can't just, that's the Mahadavagni. That's the fire which you can't control. It just burns everything. It just burns you. Just. So, and Srila Prabhupada finishes this purport here. Unless the core of person's heart, materialistic person's heart, is not purified, he cannot get rid of this Bhava Mahadavagni, this four fire. So our hearts have to become purified. Therefore, we recite every day, every morning, Chetodarpana Marjanam, cleaning the dust or extinguishing the fire. And this tamagun has to get out. We have to get rid of the tamagun. I remember once, Tata Arad Vishuddhyati, Shuddha. Shuddha means Shuddha Sattva. We have to come to this level of Shuddha Sattva. Pure Sattva. Pure mode of goodness, not ordinary mode of goodness. Because ordinary mode of goodness is not safe situation. It's still, we can fall down. Just like I heard this from, so it's authorized, please bear with me. I heard the story of, example from Suhotra Maharaj, my very respected one of, you all heard about Suhotra Maharaj. He even visited Salem 20 years ago. 20 years ago, gave seminar here on the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So once he said that we have to get rid of Maya completely, even one stain, nothing can remain, because that drop of tamagun can pull us down. And he gave example of a young teenage girl coming home to her father's home and speaking to father. Dear Fatherji, I want to talk to you. Something happened. And she was she know how to say. And father was like, "What? You're sick, or what? No, it's nothing special. Just that, I'm pregnant, but just a little bit." It just happened. She became pregnant. This is what fathers don't like to hear. Unmarried young girl became pregnant. So she said, no, but I'm just a little bit pregnant. But little bit pregnant means after 9 months you become a lot pregnant. So in similar sense, if you have little bit of tamaguna, after 9 months, 9 days, 9 hours, you can have a lot of tamaguna. Therefore, Prabhupada says here, unless the core of materialistic person's heart is purified, he cannot get rid. of the pangs of bhava maha davagni, blazing fire of material existence. And that has to be shunya, complete. So that's the purport of the purport of Srila Prabhupada on the today's shloka. Is there any question? Yes, Murari Gupta Prabhu.
So it's very difficult to enlighten very extremely rich man because he's not approachable. On the other hand, we can also see that many who are extremely poverty-stricken, they're usually associated with less intelligence. In their houses is very sometimes smelly, and
If they have house.
or this cloth is dirty. We generally do not see that Sankirtan devotees going to slums or sannyasis to preach also such extremely poverty-stricken persons. And it seems that our experience is that this middle class is the best soil fertile soil for preaching. So how to understand when Shastra is saying something which is not according to our experience? Just recently also I read, for example, Prabhupada said that coconut never killed a person. Then I wrote on the internet that there is a few cases in the world. Each year, 1, 2.
They say that coconut has eyes.
Yeah. So how to understand when...
And never falls on a man's head.
Yeah. So my question is how to understand that it seems that we have different experience from what Shastra is saying.
Well, I would say it's generally. And then according to places and circumstances, places and circumstance. And like in this context, as you say, the poverty-stricken, and I had such a heavy experience of just coming from Calcutta. I mean, from Mayapur. We were in Calcutta. We had Mahaprasadam with us, and we were waiting for the train on the Howrah station. And then there was some beggar. He was a boy. He was a teenage boy, but he was like, his body was completely deformed, and he was not even walking. He was like just like sliding, on the floor. And he came and he was, begging, so what to give, We usually it's not recommended to give money because they spend it for it's they spend it for bidis or something. So usually devotees want to give prasadam. So we had this Mahaprasadam. So I gave him one kaja, Radha Madhava Mahaprasadam. So he took it like this, he didn't even lick it. He just smelled it like this and threw it away. So what do? How can you benefit such a person? And he's in such a wretched position. He cannot, he cannot even take prasadam. Like when we say you preach to somebody and he's like dull and he cannot understand. Just take prasadam. Just take prasadam. But when they refuse prasadam, then how do you benefit them? Of course, by holy name, they can hear the holy name and get benefited. But it's a really severe misfortunate situation, misfortune. So generally, there, I would say that what Shastra describes is generally the case, but there are always exceptions. That's my understanding. which just confirm the rule, back the rule. You want to add something, Prabhuji?
I just want to make a comment if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that. I wanted to say that Srila Prabhupada was often brought up this issue between the rich and the poor. Like he said that we are preaching to the poor and the rich. Not that we just preach to the poor, but we preach to everyone because everyone needs Krishna consciousness. Everyone is suffering because of lack of Krishna consciousness. And wealth, far from relieving suffering, actually increases the suffering. Rich people are usually the most in anxiety. As you pointed out, they're worrying all the time when they might lose their hard-earned wealth. So poor people are generally happier. That you see practically that they do it. They have like a happiness index. They publish it every year. And the happiest people are the poorest people in the poorest countries
In
generally.
Bangladesh.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
some years ago. Yeah.
And then leading on from that, you mentioned about association. You said householders have to go to work and associate with non-devotees and how bad that is. So I just want to make the point that householders don't have to accumulate wealth and they don't have to associate with non-devotees. They should be smart because the wealth that you have in this life is already predetermined by your karma. You can't change it. So therefore, devotees should be smart and they should depend more on Krishna rather than trying to increase their material wealth. Because far from improving their position, they may become more karmically entangled and increase their own suffering and unhappiness. Therefore, we heard yesterday, plain living and high thinking is the best course. We shouldn't try to imitate the karmis and middle class or lower class or higher class. It's all illusion, it's all suffering, it's all ignorance.
Yes.
We should have faith in the philosophy and depend on Krishna. I was also reading that the karmis, they think they're so clever. They say money can't buy happiness, but poverty can't buy anything. They're so stubborn that they think that they will be happy by material enjoyment. That's the problem. We shouldn't be like the karmis, and we're never going to be happy with material facilities or material goods. There's will o' the wisp. We're simply serving Maya.
Thank you. So, is there anything else? Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.